Hello everybody, my name is Jacob with Must Contain Minis, and in this video we're going to look at the Anatolia Battlefleet Set for Dystopian Wars. Inside of this box, you get enough components to build yourself a battleship, as well as a couple of cruisers and 4 frigates. Now, a note on the cruisers. This set actually gives you a selection that you can combine into one much larger cruiser, or you can build them as separate, smaller cruisers. Now, I built them as smaller cruisers, but you can see in the picture on the box art that you actually can put them together and build a cruiser with a bridge between them. It's really an interesting idea. As you would expect from War Cradle Studios, the miniatures are packed away nicely in the box that they come in. I really like the design of the boxes and that the resin miniatures within are protected. Opening up the resin pieces, you can see that the details on these ships are really crisp. Let's take a closer look at this. Very nice. There's lots of detailing on here, and you can even see that they have numbers on there so you know where the pieces go when you construct the model. Before I construct that model, let's go back and look at the sprues. If you want a closer look at these sprues, be sure to pause the video and take a look at it. So here we have one side. You can see that the pieces are all numbered in a nice way so you can easily identify what they are. Assembling these models was a lot fiddlier than I expected, but we'll get into that a little later. There's a lot of pieces on this sprue. Now let's flip the sprue over and take a look at the other side. Again, if you want to pause the video, feel free to do so. Moving right along, I'm going to start building that battleship. Identifying and snipping the pieces off of the sprues was easy. Getting the resin pieces to adhere to the model was a little more difficult. You can see that I'm having troubles with it myself. Someone in the comments section of one of my previous videos did not like that I was cutting the models, pulling the knife towards myself. So I decided to use a cutting mat and just to gently push the blade down to clean off the parts of the model. Now this does take a little more time, but my fingers are safe. I also use a pair of side cutters to cut off resin and plastic pieces. Now I'll show you what I mean that I found these models fiddly. The side towers here, I had a hard time getting to stay on. Now it could be because of the super glue I was using. I wasn't using anything special. Perhaps if I was using a gel or a quick setting super glue or something with an accelerant, then I wouldn't have the same issues. But I was just going straight thin super glue and it wasn't working out the best for me. So I thought I'd let it dry for a little bit. And then when I put on the other piece, it didn't quite work out. So I gently tried to do it on its side first. And when I let it go, it wouldn't stay together. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to tip this over and see if it will stay on. Now I do have a paper towel down there so that if there is any spillage, I don't have to worry about wrecking my cutting mat. It's all absorbed by the paper towel, which I throw out at the end of the build session. So again, I'm applying it, and then I'm going to gently try to pull it down because it's not setting while it's up in the air. And when I put it down, the whole thing comes falling apart. So I worked with it a little more, and yep, the towers don't want to stay on, but I get there. It just takes a little bit of time for me. So I set the one that was still on there, and I moved the plastic piece so it would fit into place just so. And then I took the resin piece that was having issues and I fit it on simply as can be as well. And I let this dry overnight. It clearly didn't need to stay overnight, but when I came the next day, it was set and ready to go. For good measure, I added in a little bit of super glue just to make sure that tower has enough adhesive that won't be going anywhere on me on a later date. The next day, I cut off the other pieces of the model and I assembled what was left. It looked pretty good when I was done. The weapons I saved for later and I moved into the frigates next. They were super easy to construct, very fast, very simple, not too difficult at all. When I got back to the cruisers, that's a different matter. The cruisers had a lot of pieces. This is probably one of the more difficult cruisers that I've built for Dystopian Wars. So if you want more intricate models, then this might be a battle fleet that you might want to consider. If you want a simpler build, you might want to consider going with the Enlightened faction or something different than this set here. Now, when you do get all the pieces set up together, it does look really nice. Here, just let me show you a few of the different shots of the model when it was built. Again, I waited until the end for the turrets, and now that I built the one, I decided to build the second cruiser, and I decided to build it the exact same way. Because this model is a little more difficult than some of the other ones to build, I actually ended up using tweezers to help me build it. Whether you want to use tweezers, that's up to you. I could totally foresee someone not needing tweezers, but for me, it just made things easier. On the sprues, you get a ton of generators and a number of guns. The platforms you can use to make rocket launchers, guns, or I believe a particle weapon of some sort. I decided to make 2 rocket launchers and a bunch of big guns. So the main weapons of my fleet is the large guns. Here are the frigates from all directions to give you a good idea of how they look. And now let's take a look around the cruisers. I like that if you build them without fastening down the weapons, they actually could work as little turrets. They have little pegs on them and you can turn those guns. So here's the Anatolia Battlefleet Set, all constructed. They look really nice and the models have a lot of detail on them. Now I store the models in the boxes that they come in. For me, this is an easy way to keep everything together. Hopefully you liked looking at the Anatolia Battlefleet Set with me. Wayland Games did send me this product for review purposes. Wayland Games own War Cradle Studios, and if you buy from them, that's about as close as you can get from buying from the manufacturer. If you're interested in picking these up for yourself, there are affiliate links in the description below. Using one of those links does help out Miscontained Minis, as Wayland gives us a small commission from any purchases that you make using them. Thanks for watching this video, and until next time, happy gaming everyone!